اور محمد والے محمد صلوات اللہم صلی علی محمد وعلى محمد اللہم صلی علی محمد وعلى محمد اللہم صلی علی محمد وعلى محمد اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان اللعین الرجیم بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم عن جابر بن عبد اللہ الانصاری انہ قال عن فاطمة الزہرا علیہ السلام بنت رسول اللہ صلی اللہ علیہ وآلہ قال سمعت فاطمة انها قالت دخل علی ابی رسول اللہ فی بعض الایام فقال السلام علیکی یا فاطمة فقلت وعلیک السلام انی اجد فی بدنی قال انی اجد فی بدنی ضعفا فقلت له اعوذک باللہ یا ابتاه من الضعف فقال یا فاطمة ایتینی بالکساء الیمانی فغطینی به فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وسرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوزي قد أذنت لك فدخل معه تحت الكساء اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل وقال السلام عليك يا أمه فقلت وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي فقال لي يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله وتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي قد أذنت لك فدخل معهما تحت الكساء اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد فاقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله فقلت وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن أمي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء قال له وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وخليفتي وصاحب لواي قد أذنت لك فدخل علي تحت الكساء اللهم صل على محمد ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بزأتي قد أذنت لك فدخلت تحت الكساء اللهم صل على محمد فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرف الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء الأهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم أنا حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم إنهم مني وأنا منهم فجل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان السماوات إني ما خلقت السماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدهية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمس مزدية ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلك يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا رب ومن تحت الكساء فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وقال جبرائيل يا رب أتعزن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام علیک یا رسول اللہ العلی العلی یقرئ السلام ويخصك بالتحیۃ والإکرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت السماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحر يجري ولا فلك يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم وقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله إنه نعم قد أذنت لك فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد فقال لأبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد فقال علي لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله فقال النبي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت إلى أن يتفرقوا فقال علي إذن والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة فقال النبي ثانيا يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا وفيهم محموم إلا وفرج الله حما ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غما ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجة فقال علي إذن والله فزنا وسودنا وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسودوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة اللهم صل على
سلوات سلوات ذکر عباس زمانے کا بھلا کرتا ہے ذکر عباس زمانے کا بھلا کرتا ہے ذکر عباس زمانے کا بھلا کرتا ہے خلوص دل سے جو مانگے تو عطا کرتا ہے دعائے فاطمہ زہرا کی سخاوت دیکھو دعائے فاطمہ زہرا کی سخاوت دیکھو یہ کٹے ہاتھوں سے دنیا کو عطا کرتا ہے کہ مشکلیں دور کیا کرتے ہیں ان کی غازی مشکلیں دور کیا کرتے ہیں ان کی غازی واسطہ جو بھی سکینہ کا دیا کرتا ہے علم اٹھانے کا منصب نہ بھگوڑوں کو ملا علم اٹھانے کا منصب نہ بھگوڑوں کو ملا یہ مرتبہ یا مردوں کو دیا کرتا ہے نعرے حیدری
ایک بلندتر نعرہ صلوات. اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل دارین میں بس آمنے کا سلطان حسن ہے. دارین میں بس آمنے کا سلطان حسن ہے. ہر حسن کی تخلیق کا عنوان حسن ہے. ہر حسن کی تخلیق کا عنوان حسن ہے. بندے یہ سمجھتے ہیں کہ انسان حسن ہے. رحمان کے فرمان میں قرآن حسن ہے. اور کیا مرتبہ سمجھے کوئی اس پاک ولی کا. کیا مرتبہ سمجھے کوئی اس پاک ولی کا. حد ہو گئی مولا ہے حسین ابن علی کا. دارین میں بس آمنے کا نعرے حیدری. اور محمد وآل محمد صلوات. خیر مقدم کے لیے خود میرا مولا اترا. خیر مقدم کے لیے خود میرا مولا اترا. جب عزادار کا تربت میں جنازہ اترا. خیر مقدم کے لیے خود میرا مولا اترا. بعد مرنے کے بھی ہم کرتے رہیں گے ماتم. بعد مرنے کے بھی ہم کرتے رہیں گے ماتم. کون کہتا ہے کہ زینب تیرا قرضہ اترا. خیر مقدم کے لیے خود میرا مولا اترا. اوج پر آ گیا ایمان و عقیدہ میرا. اوج مجھ پر آ گیا ایمان و عقیدہ میرا، جب تبرک کا دہن سے میرے لقمہ اترا، خیر مقدم کے لیے خود میرا مولا اترا، حشر تک سجدے میں ہی رہتے رسول اکرم، حشر تک سجدے میں ہی رہتے رسول اکرم، شکر ہے پشت سے نانا کے نواسا اترا، خیر مقدم کے لیے خود میرا مولا اترا، اس کو کافر کی سند دے دے، اس کو کافر کی سند دے دی مسلمانوں نے، اس کو کافر کی سند دے دی مسلمانوں نے، آل عمران کا جس کے لیے سورہ اترا، خیر مقدم کے لیے خود میرا مولا اترا، بر محمد وآل محمد صلوات۔
محمد وآل محمد صلوات اللہ۔ کعبہ پکار لے لگا قد قامت صلاۃ، کعبہ پکارنے لگا قد قامت صلاۃ، آنا تھا جس کو آ گیا قد قامت صلاۃ، قد قامت صلاۃ، تعظیم فاطمہ سے خبردار یا نبی، تعظیم فاطمہ سے خبردار یا نبی، خبردار یا نبی، وہ آ رہی ہے فاطمہ قد قامت صلاۃ، کعبہ پکارنے لگا قد قامت صلاۃ، میسم نماز مدحت حیدر کا وقت ہے، میسم نماز مدحت حیدر کا وقت ہے، حیدر کا وقت ہے، منبر تمہارا سج گیا قد قامت صلاۃ، کعبہ پکارنے لگا قد قامت صلا. سجاد سن کے نام یہ اٹھتے ہیں بار بار. سجاد سن کے نام یہ اٹھتے ہیں بار بار. یہ اٹھتے ہیں بار بار. عباس کا ہے ذکریہ قد قامت صلا. کعبہ پکارنے لگا قد قامت صلا. آنا تھا جس کو آ گیا قد قامت صلا. کعبہ پکارنے لگا قد قامت صلا. نعرے حیدری.
بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. ساری تعریف اللہ کے لیے اور درود و سلام محمد و آل محمد کے لیے. مومن مومنات، جیسا آپ سب کے علم میں ہے کہ ہر جمعے کو انجمن-e-Ghamkhwaran-e-Abbas کی جانب سے در-e-Abbas میں محافل اور مجالس منعقد کی جاتی ہیں، اور اسی سلسلے میں آج کا یہ پروگرام شعبان کے میلاد کے سلسلے میں ہے. اور اس کے ساتھ ساتھ اس پروگرام کا ایک خصوصی فیکٹر یہ بھی ہے کہ ہمارے بہترین قسم 4 مہمان ہیوسٹن سے تشریف لائے ہیں. جناب علی نما صاحب، مہدی جعفری صاحب، علی حسین صاحب اور حسن تراب صاحب. یہ بچے یہاں پر ہمارے یوتھ کے لیے اسپیشلی تشریف لائے ہیں ہیوسٹن سے، اور امام زمانہ کی خدمت میں یہ ایک پروگرام پیش کریں گے جس اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد، جس میں ایک پریزنٹیشن ہوگی امام زمانہ کی خدمت میں، جس میں یوتھ کو پریپیئر کرنے کے لیے کیا کیا ہونا چاہیے امام زمانہ کے لیے، اور اس کے ساتھ ایک چھوٹی سی گیم بھی ہے. تو بس مختصر سا میلاد ہے استاد، اس کے بعد ان کے ہماری پریزنٹیشن ہوگی. میں گزارش کرتا ہوں علی نما سے کہ تشریف لائیں اور ہدیہ منقبت پیش کریں. اور محمد والے محمد صلوات.
اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم. بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. ان اللہ و ملائکتہ یصلون علی النبی یا ایھا الذین آمنوا صلوا علیہ وسلموا تسلیما. دور مہدی میں بتاؤں تمہیں کیا کیا ہوگا. دور مہدی میں بتاؤں تمہیں کیا کیا ہوگا. ہم جسے کہہ دیں گے وہ مردہ بھی زندہ ہوگا. دور مہدی میں بتاؤں تمہیں کیا کیا ہوگا. کہ کیا حسین وقت وہ لمحہ وہ نظارہ ہوگا. کیا حسین وقت وہ لمحہ وہ نظارہ جب وارث کعبہ ہوگا، دور مہدی میں بتاؤں تمہیں کیا کیا ہوگا، اور برسر خم جو محمد نے کہا تھا ہوگا، برسر خم جو محمد نے کہا تھا ہوگا، ایک دن دہر میں بس مولا ہی مولا ہوگا، اور وہ تیرے لشکر جرار میں آ سکتا ہے، وہ تیرے لشکر جرار میں آ سکتا ہے، جس کو زنجیر چلانے کا سلیقہ ہوگا، دور مہدی میں بتاؤں تمہیں کیا کیا ہوگا، اور ذکر مولا کا یہ اعجاز ہنسی ہے اکبر، ذکر مولا کا یہ اعجاز ہنسی ہے اکبر، ہم نہیں ہوں گے مگر نام ہمارا ہوگا، دور مہدی میں بتاؤں تمہیں کیا کیا ہوگا، بر محمد علی محمد صلوات۔
جزاک اللہ، یہ تھے جناب علی نواز صاحب، ہمارے خباد بھائی کے صاحبزادے جو کہ ہیوسٹن سے تشریف لائے ہیں۔ اب میں درخواست کرتا ہوں ان کے بڑے بھائی جناب حسن تراب سے بس میر تکلم صاحب کے 4 مصرے پڑھ کے، اور وہ امام زمانہ کی شان میں فرماتے ہیں کہ منظر دوبارہ اہل نظر کو دکھائیں گے، منظر دوبارہ اہل نظر کو دکھائیں گے، لفظوں سے لفظ خطبے سے خطبہ ملائیں گے، لفظوں سے لفظ خطبوں سے خطبہ ملائیں گے، اور غازی نے رکھے کعبے کی چھت پر جہاں قدم، غازی نے رکھے کعبے کی چھت پر جہاں قدم، قائم وہیں پہ پرچم غازی لگائیں گے، قائم وہیں پہ پرچم غازی لگائیں گے۔ میر تکلم صاحب کے اشعار کے ساتھ میں ملتے ہوئے حسن تراب سے کہ تشریف لائیں اور ہدیہ منقبت پیش کریں، پر محمد والے محمد صلوات۔
ایک بلند نعرے صلوات۔ زمیں جنت بنا دے گا علی کا آخری بیٹا، زمیں جنت بنا دے گا علی کا آخری بیٹا۔ زمانے میں جب آئے گا، زمانے میں جب آئے گا علی کا آخری بیٹا، زمیں جنت بنا دے گا علی کا آخری بیٹا۔ ضرورت ہی نہ ہوگی چاند سورج کی زمانے کو، ضرورت ہی نہ ہوگی چاند سورج کی زمانے کو، وہ جب جلوہ دکھائے گا، وہ جب جلوہ دکھائے گا علی کا آخری بیٹا، زمیں جنت بنا دے گا علی کا آخری بیٹا۔ بیاں سر شہادت کربلا میں جب کرے گا وہ، بیاں سر شہادت کربلا میں جب کرے گا وہ، اسے قبلہ بنا دے گا، اسے قبلہ بنا دے گا علی کا آخری بیٹا، زمیں جنت بنا دے گا علی کا آخری بیٹا۔ جو ایک خواہش تھی غازی کی مٹا دوں دشمن شہ کو، جو ایک خواہش تھی غازی کی مٹا دوں دشمن شہ کو، اسے تکمیل کر دے گا، اسے تکمیل کر دے گا علی کا آخری بیٹا، زمیں جنت بنا دے گا علی کا آخری بیٹا۔ نہیں کرتے جو سودا ذکر سرور کا سر منبر، نہیں کرتے جو سودا ذکر سرور کا سر منبر، انہیں انعام بخشے گا، انہیں انعام بخشے گا علی کا آخری بیٹا، زمیں جنت بنا دے گا علی کا آخری بیٹا۔ لیے بیٹھا ہے دل میں کون بغض آل پیغمبر، لیے بیٹھا ہے دل میں کون بغض آل پیغمبر، نگاہ رب سے دیکھے گا، نگاہ رب سے دیکھے گا علی کا آخری بیٹا، زمیں جنت بنا دے گا علی کا آخری بیٹا۔ سنو عدنان جس دل پر ہے نقش الفت حیدر، سنو عدنان جس دل پر ہے نقش الفت حیدر، اسے بس زندہ رکھے گا، اسے بس زندہ رکھے گا علی کا آخری بیٹا، زمیں جنت بنا دے گا علی کا آخری بیٹا۔ صلوات پڑھ لیجیے۔
جزاک اللہ حسن تراب صاحب. وہ اپنے شعر پڑھا نا کہ سر شہادت کا، اس سے وہ علامہ اقبال کا ایک شعر ہے، اور وہ اس طرح کہ بیان سر شہادت کی اگر تفسیر ہو جائے، بیان سر شہادت کی اگر تفسیر ہو جائے، مسلمانوں کا قبلہ روضہ شبیر ہو جائے، مسلمانوں کا قبلہ روضہ شبیر ہو جائے. ان اشعار کے ساتھ میں ڈاکٹر سمیع زئی سے گزارش کرتا ہوں تشریف لائیں اور ہدیہ کلام پیش کریں. محمد والے محمد صلوات.
اور محمد والے محمد نعرہ صلوات. بلندتر نعرہ صلوات. اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد. ایک بار اور نعرہ صلوات. اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد. بھائی نعت پہلے پڑھی ہوئی ہے کئی دفعہ، اس کے چند اشعار. میں پہلے آب زمزم سے قلم تطہیر کرتا ہوں، میں پہلے آب کوثر سے قلم تطہیر کرتا ہوں، پھر اس کے بعد کاغذ پر نبی تحریر کرتا ہوں، میں پہلے آب کوثر سے قلم تطہیر کرتا ہوں، اور میں دھو لیتا ہوں جب قرطاس سارا آب گریا سے، میں دھو لیتا ہوں جب قرطاس سارا آب گریا سے، تب اس پر گنبد خضرا کو میں تصویر کرتا ہوں، اور میرے آنسو میری فکر سخن کو غسل دیتے ہیں، میرے آنسو میری فکر سخن کو غسل دیتے ہیں، تو پھر میں نعت کہنے کی کوئی تدبیر کرتا ہوں، میں دوڑاتا ہوں اسپِ فکر ساتوں آسمانوں پر، میں دوڑاتا ہوں اسپِ فکر ساتوں آسمانوں پر، مقام مصطفیٰ پہ پھر میں کچھ تقریر کرتا ہوں، سکوت نیم شب میں نعت جب مجھ پہ اترتی ہے، سکوت نیم شب میں نعت جب مجھ پہ اترتی ہے، ہزاروں کہکشاؤں کو میں تب تسخیر کرتا ہوں، اور ڈبوتا ہوں میں مستی کے سفینے ہو کے قلزم میں، ڈبوتا ہوں میں مستی کے سفینے ہو کے قلزم میں، پھر ہر ایک موج قلزم آپ کی جاگیر کرتا ہوں، اور نبی کی آل کا دشمن مسلمان ہو نہیں سکتا، کوئی گر ہے تو میں اس کی کھلی تکفیر کرتا ہوں، میری گر کوئی عزت ہے تو بس، میری گر کوئی عزت ہے تو اس کا بس سبب یہ ہے، میری گر کوئی عزت ہے تو اس کا بس سبب یہ ہے، میں اہل بیت کی واصف بہت توقیر کرتا ہوں، پھر اس کے بعد کاغذ پر نبی تحریر کرتا ہوں، میں پہلے آب کوثر سے قلم تطہیر کرتا ہوں۔
آل محمد جی ہاں جی، وہ ہمارے بھائیوں کے ساتھ پاکستان میں جو بہت عرصہ دراز سے ہوتا آ رہا ہے، وہ ابھی ریسنٹلی کل ہی ہوا ہے، اور پاکستان میں خانپور میں آج ہوا ہے، اچھا سوری، میں نے خانپور کا پڑھا، سوری، میں نے پتہ نہیں کہاں سے سن لیا جی یہ ہوا ریسنٹلی، یہ ایک بہت ہی بڑا سانحہ ہوا ہے، اور جو دشمنان اہل بیت ازل سے کرتے آئے ہیں وہ انہوں نے ایک مرتبہ پھر کیا، اور ہمارے بھائیوں کو تشدد کا نشانہ بنایا، اس میں غالباً 30 کے 31، جی ہاں 30 کے 81، اللہ اکبر، 81 جو ہے ہمارے جو ہے بھائی اور بچے جو ہیں اس میں شہید ہوئے ہیں۔ جمعے کی نماز کے دوران یہ واقعہ پیش آیا ہے۔ ہم در عباس کی جانب سے جیسے ضیاء بھائی ہمیشہ کہتے ہیں کہ اس کی بہت سخت مذمت کرتے ہیں، اور پروردگار سے دعا کرتے ہیں کہ جتنے بھی دشمنان اہل بیت ہیں ان کو نیست و نابود کرے، اور ہمارے بھائیوں کو، ہماری بہنوں کو، ہمارے بچوں کو، بزرگوں کو، سب کو حفظ و امان میں رکھے، اور کوئی غم نہ ملے سوائے غم محمد والے محمد کے۔ بس پروردگار جلد از جلد امام زمانہ کا ظہور ہو، تاکہ جتنی ہماری یہ مشکلات ہیں اور جتنی ہماری یہ پریشانیاں اور مظالم جو درپیش ہیں، پروردگار ان سب سے ہم کو نجات ملے۔ اس کے ساتھ استاد میں آپ سے گزارش کرتا ہوں تشریف لائیں، ایک منقبت پیش کریں، اس کے بعد بچوں کا پروگرام ہم شروع کر دیں گے۔ اور محمد والے محمد صلوات۔
ایک اور بلندتر نعرے صلوات۔ گزشتہ مرتبہ میں جو جناب سبت جعفر شہید کا ایک کلام پڑھتا ہوں ہمیشہ، گزشتہ مرتبہ نہیں پڑھ پایا تھا، تو میں آج اس کو دوبارہ سے پڑھ دیتا ہوں آپ کے سامنے۔ بر حبیب خدا ختم الانبیاء نعرہ صلوات۔ ایک اور بلند تر نعرہ صلوات۔ ایک اور بلند تر نعرہ صلوات۔ حال غم سنائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے، حال غم سنائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے، حال غم سنائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے، محفلیں جمائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے، حال غم سنائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے، حال غم سنائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے، زخم دل دکھائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے، محفلیں جمائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے، بامدر سجائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے، جشن ہم منائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے، جشن ہم منائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے، زخم ہے ابھی تازہ مکہ اور مدینہ کے، شام کوفہ کرب و بلا ہم بھلا نہیں سکتے، از سقیفہ دم غیر سے نہیں پہنچے، جتنے دکھ اٹھائے ہیں ہم نے کلمہ گویوں سے، ایک ایک چکائیں گے، ایک ایک چکائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے، مرحلہ قیامت کا ہے ظہور پر موقوف، انسداد جور و جفا ہے ظہور پر موقوف انتقام کرب و بلا ہے ظہور پر موقوف اہتمام روز جزا ہے ظہور پر موقوف ہم سکون پائیں گے ہم سکون پائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے شک ہے جن کو اللہ کے عدل اور عدالت پر منصب نبوت پر سیدہ کی عصمت پر مرتضیٰ کی آمد سے متصل نیابت پر جن کو شک ہے بارہ پر بارویں کی غیبت پر سب ہی مارے جائیں گے سب ہی مارے جائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے اور نام پر صحابہ کے کام فاسقوں جیسے نام پر صحابہ کے کام کافروں جیسے نام پر صحابہ کے کام مشرکوں جیسے نام پر صحابہ کے کام منکروں جیسے سب ہی منہ چرائیں گے سب ہی منہ چرائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے یہ ہمارے مکر و ریا شاطرانہ یاری کیا ہمارے صوم و صلاۃ اور یہ عزاداری کتنا ہے خلوص ان میں کس قدر ریاکاری کیا امام کی خاطر ہم نے کی ہے تیاری کیسے منہ دکھائیں گے کیسے منہ دکھائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے دعوی محبت جو صبح و شام کرتے ہیں ان کے دشمنوں سے بھی راہ و رسم رکھتے ہیں خمس بھی نہیں دیتے غیبتیں بھی کرتے ہیں مومنوں سے بھی دل میں بغض و کینہ رکھتے ہیں کس طرح نبھائیں گے کس طرح نبھائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے، جھوٹ بولنے کو ہم مشغلہ سمجھتے ہیں، جھوٹ بولنے کو ہم مشغلہ سمجھتے ہیں، بات بات پر بے جا مصلحت برتتے ہیں، اور منافقت کو بھی مصلحت ہی کہتے ہیں، لہو و لعب کا سامان ہم گھروں میں رکھتے ہیں، کس طرح چھپائیں گے، کس طرح چھپائیں گے، جب امام آئیں گے، نعمت شریعت کو بوجھی سمجھتے ہیں، لہو و لعب ہی کو ہم زندگی سمجھتے ہیں، صاحبان زر کو بڑا آدمی سمجھتے ہیں، تنگ دست مومن کو کچھ نہیں سمجھتے ہیں، کیا مقام پائیں گے، کیا مقام پائیں گے، جب امام آئیں گے، کیا مقام پائیں گے، جب امام آئیں گے۔ سبت جعفر صاحب نے یہ بڑی تلخ اور سچی باتیں کی ہیں، اور یہی بنیادی طور سے ایک پیغام ہے ہمارے اور آپ سب کے لیے کہ یہ جو چیزیں بیان کی گئی ہیں ان سے ہم کنارہ کشی اختیار کریں، ان سے دوری اختیار کریں، اور یہی بنیادی طور سے اصل ہمارا یعنی دعویٰ ہوگا کہ ہم واقعاً امام کو بلانا چاہتے ہیں، امام کے طرفدار ہیں، امام کے چاہنے والے ہیں۔ اپنے ذاتی دشمن کو دوزخی سمجھتے ہیں، اپنے آپ کو لیکن جنتی سمجھتے ہیں، امر نہی کو امر اور نہیں کو بس واجبی سمجھتے ہیں، اور دل فریب باتوں کو شاعری سمجھتے ہیں، بات کیا بنائیں گے، بات کیا بنائیں گے، جب امام آئیں گے، اور الاجل جو کہتے ہیں آ گئے تو کیا ہوگا، الاجل جو کہتے ہیں آ گئے تو کیا ہوگا، کیا ہے اپنی تیاری پیش ہم کریں گے کیا، سبت جعفر اپنا تو کل یہی ہے سرمایہ، حمد و نعت و سوز و سلام اور منقبت نوحہ ہم یہی سنائیں گے، ہم یہی سنائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے، ہم یہی سنائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے، جشن ہم منائیں گے جب امام آئیں گے۔ بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات۔
جزاک اللہ ضیاء بھائی، جزاک اللہ۔ کاظم سے گزارش کرتا ہوں کہ مومن و مومنات, as I stated at the beginning of the program, today we have a special program as a part of our Milad, and we have 4 special guests who have come all the way from Houston just for our youth to deliver a presentation on Imam Zamana alayhi salam. In just a few minutes we'll be setting up so we can have a projector over here because they'll be delivering a presentation using their computer, and then as soon as we are set up I would like to call them and then they can deliver the presentation. So just a few minutes while we set up. Or Muhammad wale Muhammad salawat. So our daughters, our sisters, if they want to come and be a part of this congregation over here in this room, they are actually welcome and they can come and sit at the back. So if my sisters and my daughters are listening to me, if you want to come and join this program in this room, you are welcome to come and sit at the back. Bilkul, absolutely. So once you're coming over here, I think we don't have to say that your proper hijab should be maintained, but you are welcome and come over here as a part of this program. special guests, youth from Houston, have come here entirely to make sure that our youth in Atlanta are able to see this presentation that they have prepared. I'll give a brief introduction about our guests that have come from here. So they are a part of an organization called Mahdiya USA, which is a youth initiative devoted to studying and spreading the teachings of Ahlul Bayt in the service of our master of our time, Imam Zamana alayhi salam. The purpose of this organization is to seek advice and guidance from the respected resident scholars of different passages. Particularly in Houston, there's Imam Barga / Masjid al-Rasul al-Akram. This drive by the youth, for the youth, is to bring together dedicated teachers, students, administrators, volunteers, working to spread knowledge, deepen the recognition and akhlaq, and strengthen the youth to connect with the faith through a range of programs, including workshops, classes, discussions, presentations, and revival of. They've gone across North America, Canada, some cities in Canada, and of course in the United States as well. And we are absolutely honored to have them over here. We would like to thank them for coming all the way from Houston entirely on their own expenses. And this is a big thing that they're actually doing it for the youth of our Atlanta community. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The four gentlemen who are here, I would like to briefly introduce them. Ali Numa, who's the son of Hamad Bhai. He is a student studying MIS at the University of Houston. We have Mahdi.
Oh man, we're cooked, right? So it could be two one way or the other, right? One could be, oh, maybe we're in trouble, or maybe on the other side, where our parents really care about us. Maybe we're on a trip, and they want to make sure we're getting there safely. They're caring about us. So, in fact, in the Holy Quran, there's a special message which relates to this, where the Quran says, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O those who believe, astajibu lillahi war rasuli. As in, respond to the call of Allah when it comes. Respond to the call of the messenger. Why? إِذَا دَعَاكُمْ لِمَا يُحْيِيكُمْ. Because Allah, the messenger, are calling towards what gives you life, right? And then when we look at what life means in this tradition, and in the traditions of the Ahlul Bayt, life refers to the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. So, and no one holds that wilayat other than the master of the time, Imam Zaman, at this day and age. So, when we go back to this list, now imagine us having 7 missed calls from Imam Zaman, right? And that's on the back of the mind. So how are we going to respond to that, right? So that's what our program entails today, right? So just as if our parents cared about us, our brothers or sisters call us, similar is Imam Zaman. Imam Zaman cares about us many times more than our parents, right? And in fact, in one of the letters that was sent to Sheikh Mufid, the Tawqis, he says, "Inna ghayra muhmilina limura'atikum," as in we are not negligent in caring for your affairs, right? In caring for you. "Wala na'asina lidhikrikum," nor are we forgetful of your remembrance, right? So Imam Zaman is saying that he remembers us in all our affairs, right? Everything that's going on in our lives, just like our parents do, right? So similarly, Imam Zaman has that connection with us.
So to start off the program, we're going to have 2 sessions, right? We want to think about how will we answer the call of the Imam. And we first want to examine how does our current day today look like? What do our 24 hours within all of our lives look like today? So we're going to make a 24-hour plan. Examine what does the day look like for each of us? What are the different activities we do? And then at the very end, we're going to have a quiz, a Kahoot, a chance for you guys to win some prizes. Some of them are these sweatshirts. It's kind of colder here than it is in Houston, so I think this will come in handy, inshallah. Next slide. So what does the 24-hour plan look like? What are some things we want to think about as we're going through this part of the session? Number 1, how does our current day today look like right now? What are the activities we're involved with? What are we doing? Which of these activities are taking up most of our day? Right, we all do some similar activities. Which of these are the ones that we spend the most time doing? And then lastly, how can we optimize these daily tasks so that we have remembrance of Imam Zamana throughout the day and everything that we're doing? Many of you have seen this notification on your phone, right? Cannot download the update. I get this every day and I just keep saying, remind me later, remind me later. I don't want to update my phone, right? Now, when we get the update to be with Imam Zaman, when he gives us the call, are we going to be ready, or are we going to have an unstable connection? Are we not going to be ready to put that update in immediately, right? Let's think about what does our day look like right now. For visual purposes, we've kind of split the day up into maybe how your phone storage may look, right? Maybe we have 24 gigabytes used in our phone, similar to the 24 hours that we have in each of our day, right? If we examine it, number 1, all of us have to sleep. Some of us love sleeping. I love sleeping. I don't get to do enough of it. I wish I could. But 8 hours of our day we spend sleeping. Now, all of us are either going to work, or going to school, we're studying, we're doing something during the daytime as a livelihood, right? That's another 8 hours of our day. So already we've had 16 hours of the day of the 24. But we still have time for Imam Zaman, right? Let's continue. Then you have your extracurriculars. Maybe it's coming to the Jashan like tonight. Maybe it's going and hanging out with your friends. Whatever it may be, there's some time for extracurricular. We'll devote 1 hour just for some extracurriculars. And then we have personal care. We're putting 1 hour personal care. Some may take more time to get themselves ready in the shower and groom themselves. Maybe some less. I'm hoping at least an hour throughout the whole day, right? Let's keep going. Then we have commute. A lot of us, we have to drive wherever we want to go, whether it's to work, whether it's to the masjid, the center, to visit our family. We're spending a lot of time driving. We've advocated 1 day for this, but still we have 5 hours left. Let's see where we can fit Imam Zaman in, right? Then we have food. We all love to eat, go to new restaurants. Throughout the day, we have to prep our food, make the meals, eat the food. We're giving 1 hour for food. And then we're going to just give 0.5 GBs for family, right? Maybe some of us hopefully spend more than this, but on a general basis, we're going to say most of us at least get 30 minutes of quality time with our family, whether that be our parents, our children, our siblings. And then we have 1 hour for worship, right? This is your salat that you're doing throughout the day. You're reading your namaz, your du'as. We're going to give 1 hour. Maybe some do more, maybe some do a little bit less, but generally we're going to say 1 hour. So now we have 3 gigabytes left, 3 hours of the day left. Where can we fit Imam Zaman in, right? Well, a lot of us, number 1, health is priority, right? We're going to go to the gym. We're going to spend some time at the gym working out. Maybe it's going for a run, whatever it may be, playing basketball. And now we have 2 hours left. Now, we generally put that these last 2 hours, I think examining our own lives, is used for social media, whether it's scrolling, going on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it may be, watching videos. So now we've used 24 hours of the 24 gigs, but where do we fit in Imam-e-Zaman? Right? So all the gigs are being fully used. The update cannot be installed. Now what do we do in our daily life to make sure that we can add some time, optimize our phone, optimize our life, the daily tasks that we're doing, so that when Imam-e-Zaman, inshallah, his zuhur comes and he calls upon us, we're ready for that. So we have those same 24 hours split into different applications for you guys. All right, we have the health, work, extracurriculars, your sleep, salat, your social media, your family. And these are all put in different applications, and we're going to take time to examine each one of these, right? Maybe we'll choose 5 for time purposes, but we will give you guys an option to choose and select the first application that we want to go to. So up to you guys. You guys tell me which app do we want to do first out of here? Out of the day that we have, 24 hours, which one do we want to analyze first? Say that again? Sleep. Okay. Chalo, let's do sleep. I can tell you like sleep. There we go. Okay.
All right, so sleep, as Mehdi said, big part of our day, right? We're told that, we need to sleep 8 hours to be ready for that meeting the next morning, right? So how do we optimize our sleep, right? In fact, let's see what Islam says about sleep in general, right? Imam Qadim alayhi salam says, Inna Allaha, Bismillah ar-Rahman, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Imam Qadim alayhi salam says, Inna Allaha ta'ala liyubghidha abdun nawam. Right? Imam Qadim says Allah hates the servants that sleep a lot. Right? So, and then he continues on and he says, and he also hates the servants which are idle, farigh, right? So sometimes, right, we get in this mindset, oh, I have a big exam the next day, so I need to sleep early, so I'm going to skip the jeshan, I'm going to skip the majlis, right? Are these the servants of Imam-e-Zaman? We have to think through ourselves, right? So, what are some general things that we can do to, be more connected to Imam-e-Zaman within this 8 hours that we generally have to spend? 1, sleep in a state of wudu, right? This is something which has been highly emphasized by the Ahlul Bayt before you go to sleep. Number 2, right? Connect with your Imam. It's as simple as just moving your lips and talking to your Imam. Right? How many of us we spend so much time talking on our phones, we spend so much time talking to our friends, but what about our Imam? Right, where is he in that picture? Right, maybe you could spend 5 minutes, if not 2 minutes, just speaking to the Imam. Oh, Imam, you blessed me with this opportunity to do something good today, and I'm very thankful of it. Or maybe there was a mistake that happened, and you're very regretful of it. Number 3, right, we can recite a few verses of the Quran and give the sawab of that to Sahib al-Amr. And last but not least, the most important, make du'as. Right, the Ahlul Bayt give us a rich corpus of du'as that we can uncover and speak to Allah with. So, how do the servants of Imam-e-Zaman, the 313, look, right? So there's a long hadith which states specific characteristics, the qualities of the 313. And one of the qualities refers to sleep, where it says they are the servants of Imam-e-Zaman, they are ruban bil-layl wa asadun bin-nahar, as in they're monks in the night. What are they doing in the night? Right? This is a time when no one's around. Everyone's asleep. There's no room for riyah. Right? There's no room for us. Their creator. Right? At that time when it's just them and their creator, they're speaking to their creator. Right? They're making a connection with their imam. They're talking to their imam for extended periods of time. Right? Maybe they're using this time for, which has been emphasized very highly in the hadith, for Salatul Layl. And then on the other side, right, they're asadun bin nahar. What does a lion do in the day, right? He's going left and right, searching for his sustenance for his family, right? So they're not expensing their nighttime just to be lazy in the daytime. No, they're doing both, right? Just like the brother mentioned, right? They're working hard during the daytime and as well In the nighttime, they're monks. So that's one way we can optimize our sleep on a day-to-day basis to be more oriented towards Imam Zaman. And although, like, you know, the ultimate goal, like sometimes we say we need the 8 hours of sleep, right? Sometimes it's maybe we can cut that down to like 6 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, right? And we can spend that little bit of time that we have from sleep to specifically serve Imam Zaman.
Okay, so that was the sleep application. Now, I think what we're going to do is I want to pick one for myself, just because I think this is also very relatable for everyone, right? We're going to do social media, okay? Everyone, even you know, the youth, social media is big. We have Instagram, Facebook, not very much Facebook, but Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Adults as well. Don't think I forgot. I know how much everyone's on WhatsApp, on Facebook. So social media applicable to everyone, right? Not only the youth.
All right, so as a social media expert, if I'm being real, the 2 hours we gave you guys before, everyone's spending more than 2 hours. Come on, guys. I mean, like, I know some of us, if we were to pull up our screen time, then our screen time would look atrocious. We would be ashamed to show how much time we spend on Instagram and TikTok and how much time we just spend laying around and doom scrolling. But what does our feed look like, right? What are we scrolling? What are we looking at? Are we looking at the Super Bowl is on Sunday? Are we looking at memes? Are we trying to find the most nichest memes? Are we looking at brain rot? Are we keeping up with 6 and 7? Are we keeping up with our favorite shows? You know, we're keeping up with our favorite shows, favorite movies, favorite athletes. You know, LeBron James, 41 years old. But is that what it's supposed to look like? Is that what it's supposed to look like? How much do we know? Like, how much do we know about our favorite athlete? How much do we know about our favorite influencer? And how much do we know about our Imam? Right? How many stats can I name about LeBron James? And how many stats can I name about the Imam of my time? So what does Rasulullah say about this? Rasulullah says, "Man mata walam ya'rif Imam zamanahi mata mitatan jahiliya." That the one who dies without the recognition of the Imam of their time, he dies a death of ignorance. So it's important, and Rasulullah is saying, he's giving us this responsibility that we have to gain this recognition. We have to gain knowledge for the Imam of our time. We have to build this relationship, and we have to build this connection and gain this recognition so that when the Imam comes, then we're not left in the dust. And a lot of you might be thinking that, oh no, I know my Imam. I know he was born on 18th Shaban. I know he's 1100 something years old. I know his favorite color. I know his parents' names. But Imam al-Baqir, he specifies what kind of ignorance this is. He specifies that this is the ignorance of kufr, wal-nifaq, wal-dhalala, that this is the ignorance of disbelief, hypocrisy, and misguidance. So it's important that, yes, that we have belief on the Imam of our time, but it's important that we have the correct belief. And it's important that we're not just saying that we're the believers of the Imam. We're not just saying that I'm a Shia of Haidar al-Qarrar, but when it comes time, I'm laying on my bed and I'm scrolling on my phone. Right? That when it comes time, I'm neglecting the responsibilities and the duties towards the Imam of our time. And that we're not misguided. That we have the correct information and that we're acting upon it, so that we're, like he said, that we're the monks and the lions. But a lot of you guys might be asking, how do I get this correct information? Where do I go? So Imam Baqir, he says, "Sharqan wa gharban, fala tajidane ilman sahihan illa shay'an kharaja min indina ahl al-bayt." That go to the east and go to the west, you will not find any true or authentic knowledge other than the doors of the Ahl al-Bayt. That when we're scrolling on social media and we're seeing all these cool people talk about these cool things and we're relying on them for information, or should we be relying on them, or should we be relying on the Imam of our time that knows everything, that knows when anyone is going to do anything? Look at this gentleman over here, right? He's traveling all over the world and he's looking for the Thaqalain. He's looking for the Ahl al-Bayt, right? So you go to the west, you go to the east, you're not going to find anyone that's going to give you knowledge like the Ahl al-Bayt. And sometimes the best solution to this, since there's so much false information, so much misconceptions, so much stuff going on social media, you don't know what's right and wrong. Sometimes the best solution is just you put your phone down, right? Put your phone down and you pick up a book. You pick up a book. You know, read some hadith. Read about the Imam. Read what he says. Read what he does. Read his teachings. And that's the best way that we can gain that recognition that we talked about. Gain that recognition, have that close relationship, grow close to him, become familiar with him. And a lot of you might be thinking, I can't do that. I can't pick up a book. I can't read. I can't. And so a lot of our social medias look like this, right? We're just looking at all this nonsense. And how do we fix that? How do we fix that? So the first step is we become mindful. We become mindful consumers, and we're reflecting on the things that we're looking at, right? Well, what are we looking at? Are we looking at, bad stuff? We don't want to be looking at that stuff. Are we looking at sports or what, like the stuff I mentioned earlier? We just want to be mindful of the things that we're consuming. And the second step is to follow the Imam, follow the message. There's so many pages out there that advocate for the Imam. They post hadiths, they post reliable traditions, they post matam videos, they post majlises and everything like that. So use that to gain that connection to your Imam. Our very own page, Mahdiya USA, we post hadiths and everything like that. And then curate your feed. Block pages that aren't good. Block pages that show nonsense, that show junk. Click like not interested, right? A lot of us have favorite influencers. A lot of us have favorite comedians. A lot of us have favorite athletes. But we want to keep up with our Imam. We want to become close to him. Last step is to connect with the Imam. So now that our feed is filled with Imam Zaman, we can connect with him. We have that close relationship that even when I'm scrolling on my phone, I'm still gaining recognition for the Imam in my time. I'm still building that connection, building that relationship, so that even on my downtime, this is still ibadat. I'm still gaining knowledge from him. I'm still becoming educated. And now that we have that connection, but how do we connect, right? So we learn more about him. Like I said, we learn the traditions. We learn how the Imam is. We learn what he's doing. And then when we reach that stage, we can recognize the misconceptions. A lot of you might be thinking, how do I know what hadiths are right? How do I know what's wrong? How do I know what's right? A lot of people just put their own opinions out there. A lot of people just put nonsense out there. How do I know what's correct? So when you get to that stage, when you learn so much about the Imam, you're so close to him, you have that relationship, you can decipher, you're able to decipher that, is this something the Imam would do? Or is this something my Imam would say? And you're able to decipher if this is correct or if this is not. And then now that we're at that stage, now we can serve him. We can keep others safe, right? If one of my Sean comes up to me and he's like, man, I don't know if this hadith is right or wrong, then I'm able to tell him, like, no, man, this isn't right. Okay? And we're able to serve the Imam in that manner. We're able to keep others safe. We're able to vet ourselves so that we're strong and we have that connection. And like I said earlier, we have our own socials. We have our YouTube and Instagram where we post very nice hadiths and videos, and our website. So like I said earlier, pick up a book. Where do you go for books? You can start with our website. We have PDFs categorized by name and topic and everything like that. You can go find a book, read hadiths, read about the Imam. Those very books that are on our website, they actually helped us build this very presentation. So go read some hadiths, become familiar with your Imam. And ultimately, the next step for social media is, inshallah, we get to that point where we can cut it out, or we can spend very, very little time on social media. Or if we're still spending time, then we're spending time looking at our Imam, reading about him, gaining that recognition and everything like that. So we're not just scrolling on our phone and doing nonsense all day.
Okay, so we're gonna go to work next, just because work is something we all have to do every single day. And for people that are students or kids, you guys are going to school, right? Similar to kind of work, every day you have to wake up and you have to do it. So we're gonna first start with this application of work. How do we optimize this to be focused around Imam Zaman alayhi salam?
All right, like so Mehdi said, we wake up every morning, right? We have that drive. But what is that drive? Is that drive so, by the time I'm like 30, I'll have a Ferrari and I'll retire and I'll have a family, mansion, everything is set? Is that it? Or is there a bigger purpose? Let's see. What does Rasulullah say in regards to work in general? He says, ibadat, right? Ibadat, as we attribute to prayer. Worship consists of 10 parts, 9 of which are seeking a lawful livelihood, right? So, rizqul halal is very important. That has been emphasized by Rasulullah. But is this the end all, right? Let's look how Imam Ali beautifully describes 2 types of workers in this dunya, right? The first type of worker, he says, عامل عمل في الدنيا للدنيا. As in, this is the worker who works in this world for the sake of this world. So this individual is probably sitting at work, maybe half the salary goes into that 401k, everything is good, there's no issues in his life because he's putting in that extra effort, right? Maybe he's skipping that late night session, maybe he's skipping this session in order to complete the work for the next day, right? Working that extra bit to, satisfy his boss versus satisfying the imam, right? Some of us could be in school, right? And if, for instance, we're in college, right? We're working late nights trying to study the material, but it's not at the price of this majlis or this gathering of this azah, right? So what is the result? Imam Ali says, because this person is so focused, he says, قَدْ شَغَلَتْهُ دُنْيَاهُ عَنْ آخِرَتِهِ. As in, this person, as worldly pursuits have distracted him from the hereafter, right? On the other hand, Imam Ali describes an individual. On the other hand, he says, وَعَامِلٌ عَمَلَ فِي الدُّنْيَا لِمَا بَعْدِهَا. As in, this individual is a worker who works in this world, right? He works for the Imam. For what? For the hereafter. Because he knows true success lies in the hereafter. So, when we look at this guy, right? He's blocked out his team's calendar, right? He's in the break room spending time for Zohar and Nasr namaz, right? He's having a conversation with Imam Zaman, right? And he's not sacrificing his namaz throughout the day in order for him to just make that meeting or just be 5 minutes early to that team's meeting so that, he can impress someone, right? No, because he understands his true purpose in life. What's his purpose? Greater than just the dunya of life, which is the purpose to serve Allah. And serve Allah through how? His messenger. And by obeying the teachings of the Imams, right? So in fact, when we look at just this willing to work for Imam Zaman, there's a beautiful hadith from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Where he says, لَوْ أَدْرَكْتَهُ لَخَدَمْتَهُ. Right? As in, if Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam was in this era of occultation, this ghaibat that we're in right now, that he would, خَدَمْتَهُ أَيَّامِ حَيَاتِ, that he would serve him his entire life. Look at who this hadith is coming from. This is coming from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam, not a normal individual. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam in Masjid al-Kufa used to have 4,000 students at a time studying various sciences, right? As if Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam is saying this as if he hasn't done anything to the khidmat of the deen, right? So imagine, Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam wants to serve Imam Zaman, right? So where should our purpose and where should our outlook in life be, right? Towards serving Imam Zaman.
So to look at some examples of those who have worked for Imam Zaman, we want to start with one whose name is Husayn ibn Ru al-Nawbakhti. Is anyone familiar with this name? Husayn ibn Ru. Yeah? So Husayn ibn Ru was the third emissary, the third naib of Imam Zaman. Does anyone know what industry he worked in? He was actually in oil and gas. We come from Houston. A lot of us work in oil and gas. Husayn ibn Ru was also in oil and gas. He was an oil merchant. He would sell oil to people. Right? At the same time when he would sell his oil to the people, he would also grab the letters from the Shias. Right? He'd grab whatever letters they wanted to send to Imam Zaman. He would take it and deliver it to Imam Zaman. So even though he lived a life where he has to have some sustenance for his family, to be a tradesman, to do something, he still made it a part of his day to still serve Imam Zaman in some way, right? And that's what our goal of working is as well, right? Of course, to sustain for our family, to provide a livelihood, to support, but also to work for Imam Zaman. And I want to open up the discussion a little bit and ask the brothers, the sisters here maybe, what are ways that maybe you're currently working for Imam Zaman, right? We want to reflect on this just a little bit. Does anyone have any ideas? Think about your life daily, what you're doing, maybe even if it's something small, any ideas of how we can work for Imam Zaman before we go into it fully? Any ideas? The brother who chose sleep, I'm going to call on you. Just any ideas? What can you do maybe? And are you a student or you're a student? Are you in college, high school? High school? Okay, what grade? 12th grade. So you're going to go to college soon. So what do you want to study? Medicine. Okay. What's one way you think, so you want to become a doctor, inshallah, right? Or a nurse, physical therapy, I don't know. But whatever you want to do, how do you think you can apply what you plan to do for Imam Zaman? I'm putting you on the spot, I'm sorry. Donate in which way? Monetarily? Time? What do you mean donate? Tell me.
Like to the masjid.
Okay.
Like, for example, on Ashura,
Mm.
or Quran, like helping the dying.
Okay. That's very nice. Very nice. Right? And I'm sure there's many doctors that already do that. Without those doctors that would help us on Ashur for Zanjir Zani, a lot of us would have a lot of painful times at night. Right? So, alhamdulillah for them. Very good point. Very good example. Let's examine some other things, right? One thing that you can do first, always, things start out with a niyat, right? Good intention. You're going to work. Number one, start your work with praying sincerely for Imam Zaman daily, right? Have him in your mind when you first start to work. Pray for him, do dua for him, do dua for his health, for his safety and health as well. And as you do that dua for the Imam, he'll return to you in tenfold to make sure that you're also protected. So start your day with that. The second thing that we can do is bring the believers to the mission of Imam Zaman. Bring people closer like we have today. It's such a nice gathering, such a nice seating of everyone here, brothers, sisters, young, old, right? Everyone is here. We're bringing believers together for the remembrance of Imam Zaman. Do this even within your work, right? Say you're going to the office, right? As Shias of Imam Ali, one of the biggest things that we have is akhlaq, right? That Imam has taught us. People see us, they ask us, you're Muslim, you follow Islam, what are you? We proudly say we're Shias, right? We follow Imam Ali. He's the one that taught us this. Recently, I was in Maryland before I came right here for a work meeting. And they all asked me, my brother, alhamdulillah, he got married on 13th Rajab in Najaf. So we were there for 13th Rajab. They all asked me, where did you go? How did you take the time to do this? What was all of this? I sat with them during lunch and I told them all about it. I said, yeah, we followed this Imam. He's buried here. We went to celebrate his birthday, all these things. We're bringing people, even if they're not Shias, we're bringing them to understand who are these amazing Imams that we follow, right? So bring people closer to the mission of Imam Zaman. The third thing, know the pitfalls that can turn us away from the Imam, right? What are we doing maybe in our work settings that maybe Imam Zaman would not be pleased with, right? Maybe this is us understanding that maybe sometimes I don't need to go to that work event, right? Maybe it's a mixed event. Maybe it's a dinner where you know they're going to be drinking or they're going to have things. Maybe we choose and we make the decision. We're a little bit scared. Maybe, oh, how will this affect how my co-workers look at me? But we make the ultimate decision that Imam Zaman will be happy with my decision to not attend that gathering. Right? I choose not to go there. Instead, maybe it's a mixed gathering. We don't go there. Maybe it's the day of Ashur. My boss tells me I need you to be here. It's tax season. It's busy season. You cannot leave. Right? You can't take the day off. What am I going to do? Am I going to forfeit my Ashur to go to work? Would Imam Zaman be happy with that? So these are some things that we should have in mind. When we're doing our work, our livelihood, what are we doing to put a smile on the Imam's face? Right? And the fourth thing is, we can share our wealth, our property with the Imam. As the brother said, he wants to become a doctor, he wants to serve the community, donate his time, his money to help the Zaireen, to help the Matamis, the Azadars of Imam Hussain. Right? Share whatever knowledge you may have, whatever practice you may have, whatever skill you may have to help your community and ultimately serve Imam Zaman. Just another example on this, maybe any of the adults here, if I can choose, anyone want to share what they do for work? What is like the what, Brother Zishan? Zulfikar, sorry. IT. Okay, IT. So you've probably been working for a while, right? Alhamdulillah, a lot of us that are further in our careers, what does it mean to share our wealth and property with the Imam? Maybe this can even mean, besides monetarily giving what we have, maybe you're in IT, maybe there's another college student that says, I want to do IT, right? You help them. You can provide them some advice to bring them up. Maybe you have a job opening in your company. You help bring them in, teach them some skills, give them advice, mentor them a little bit in their careers, and inshallah, then the whole community is now in service of Imam Zaman, right? Everyone is in that same mindset. And as we just read in the Manqabat from Sibt Jafar, right? The idea is, what are we going to do when that call comes? When the Zuhur is here, are we ready? Is the Qawm ready for Imam-e-Zaman? And that's the attitude we want to have. And the most important thing working for Imam-e-Zaman is to be familiar with the teachings of Ali Muhammad alayhi salam, right? So that when the Imam appears and his Zuhur is here, we aren't confused about who this person is, what he's asking from us to do. We're already familiar with his teachings. When Imam comes, we're happy. We're not asking Imam, why did you say to do this? Why did you ask me? Instead, you're ready to serve, submit, be there for him when he needs us. And that means that we have to know what the Imams ask from us right now and what their teachings are today. So when he comes, we're all ready for that moment. So with this, we've optimized the work app, right? We focused on how we can turn our work day that we're doing every single day to be focused more on the Imam. And now we'll move on to the next one. I want to stop. We've done 3. We're kind of halfway. Any questions from anyone so far? Ideas, questions, comments? No? Okay, so I'm going to let you. Sure.
So I just thought about this, that some people might be hearing, like, do something for Imam-e-Zaman, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, especially the younger crowd, they'll think, like, when you're saying do something for Imam-e-Zaman, it's more so like in the way of whatever would please Allah, pretty much. So you're not literally doing something for him to feel like happy that, oh, thank you, you did something for me. You're doing something, something that he would be happy with hearing. So I just wanted to like clarify that, because I was thinking about it. That rather than doing something for him specifically, you're doing it to make him happy with what you're doing.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Same note in all essence, you're doing it for yourself. Because all of that, you are benefiting yourself.
If I may be allowed to contribute here,
Allah.
I would speak for people who are working and have an income. I would encourage that we also focus on giving the full from time, because part of it goes to the Imam's mission. So I myself have been directed, and I'm fortunate to say, and I should boast about it, that I've been paying my full right from the first year I started work. And it was a very small portion in my first year, because I was living with my parents, so I was contributing towards the home, and my personal savings were minuscule, but whatever it was, I've been paying it. In fact, I have a check in my car, which I was looking for a mailbox to drop it in the mailbox. So we should be focused on fulfilling that responsibility that we give our imams share. The other half goes to the Sami Imam, and there's one part is Sami Imam, the other is Sami Sadat. So that is also what we should be aware of. Thanks for this opportunity.
Yeah, just to point to your point there, right? So we all went through Fatimiyya just recently, right? We understand a little bit better about Sayyidatun Nisa, and remember that hadith where she says, where Rasulullah says that Fatima bazatun minni man azaha azani, man azani aza Allah, right? So in that hadith, right, the scale of acceptance of Allah's rizayat and Allah's happiness and satisfaction and his hatred is based on Fatima al-Zahra, right? It's no different than Imam-e-Zaman, right? So us serving Imam-e-Zaman, us asking for Imam-e-Zaman is, and Allah has specifically told us, to go to Imam-e-Zaman, right? He has pointed us to go to the Ahlul Bayt to ask for our hajat, ask for our needs, right? Because he's put them at the level of wilaya of himself. Where does he do that in the Holy Quran? Where he says, إِنَّمَا وَلِيُّكُمُ اللَّهُ وَالرَّسُولُهُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ, right? The verse of wilaya about Imam Ali alayhi salam, where he donates zakat where he does zakat in ruku, right? So he's setting that same level of mastership to Rasulullah and then to the preceding imams, right? And then one more point there, right? The brother mentioned regards to the youth, right? So a lot of us are probably in high school, early college, right? So how do we try to get to that stage of deciding what our career is going to be, right? So if I could go back, like whenever I was in college, hopefully not too far back, right? But at that time, right, if I understood what does the community need, right? Maybe we have a bunch of doctors, maybe we have a bunch of engineers. maybe the community needs a specific, field which is very, very expensive. For instance, a dentist, right? So you can serve the members within your community, and you can fill that void within your community. So have that outlook, right? Because at the end of the day, when Imam Zaman comes, right, the hadith states that, one brother will put his hand in the pocket of the other brother and be able to take his money without any regard whatsoever. So that's how we have to be as, a community of Shias. We have to see the void that we have, and we have to gear our void to gear ourselves to fit that void. Right. Was there any other questions?
All right, so let's look at family. Bhajan, can you click family? So Islam always emphasizes the importance of family, spending time with your family, being kind to your parents, your children, everything like that. But Rasulullah says that أَلَا كُلُّكُمْ رَاعٍ وَلَا كُلُّكُمْ مَسْئُولٌ عَنْ رَعِيَّتِهِ, that each of you is a shepherd and each of you is responsible for his flock. Right? So our family being our flock, we're responsible for them. We're responsible if they're doing the right things, if they're on the right track. We should check in with them, make sure that they're doing the right things and everything like that. And especially our children, we should make sure that they're on the right track, because Imam Ali says that a child's heart is like empty land, and whatever is planted in it, it accepts. So you have to make sure that you're planting the right things in it. You're planting the right beliefs, the reasons for the beliefs, and so that when they grow up, that they're not easily swayed, that they're not easily moved to the wrong track. So make sure that you're planting the right things, like Imam Ali is saying. Go next. Yeah. So what kind of family activities can we do to strengthen our connection with Imam Zaman? So some of these activities, they revolve around preparing for Imam Zaman and his reappearance. So maybe you attend a jashan or a majlis. A lot of us, we're attending a jashan right now, but maybe we go as a family. We strengthen that bond, not with just our family, but with the Imam of our time. We discuss it. We talk about it. Bibi Fatima Zahra, she would ask Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain when they would come back from the masjid, she would ask them that, what did Rasulullah talk about on the minbar? She would ask them and they would talk about it. They would discuss it. And the same way, if we do that, if the children have any questions, I know from speaking from personal experience, when I would have a question, I would ask my dad and he would answer, so that any doubts that I would have, they would be crushed immediately. And as children, also, it's our duty to ask that question, not bottle it up, so that when we're older, we have that strong belief, we have that strong foundation. Azadari, one of our biggest things, we do it as a family, going on ziyarat. A lot of us go on ziyarat. If we go as a family, we see that haram, we see that gumbat of Imam Hussain, and we're, as a family, speaking from personal experience, I haven't been on ziyarat with my family. But I know that those who do, they serve Imam together as a family unit. Dua Kumail on Thursday night, Dua Nudba on Friday. You do it as a family. Dinner with the stories of the Imam. When you have dinner, you talk about the Imam. You talk about Karbala. You talk about Bibi Fatima and the Darbar. A lot of people, when they grow older, they don't have that idea. They don't have that familiarity with the Ahlul Bayt. I know people on a personal level that they don't have that familiarity. So it's important that we teach it at a young age, so that they grow familiar with the Ahlul Bayt. They grow familiar with the waqiyas of the Ahlul Bayt. And they have that strong foundation. And Imam himself has stated that Al-Imam Anis al-Rafiq wal-Walad al-Shafiq, that the Imam says that I am more compassionate towards you than a father towards his child. How compassionate does our father feel towards us? Or how compassionate does our parent in general feel towards us? How much love do they feel towards us? The Imam is saying he feels even more love than that. So how much love are we showing to that Imam? When our parents show love towards us, we feel, we say, I love you too. Maybe we don't. But we feel that, we reciprocate that love. But the Imam is saying that I show even more love to you. So we have to do our responsibility, and we have to take a step towards him, so he takes 10 steps towards us. And the main idea is that spending time and doing activities with our families, it's an obligation. Islam emphasizes it. But the preparation and the recognition of the Imam as a true father in our families is the actual goal, right? We like to have family night. We like to have movie night, game night as a family. But let's have some Imam night. Let's talk about the Imam. Let's do some activities to strengthen our connection with the Imam. And that's how we can... and that's how we can make family time an ibadat. So when you're spending time with your family, it's already an ibadat, but you're strengthening that connection, making that relationship even stronger. So as a family, you can face the Imam and say, I'm ready.
صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على All right, we're going to jump into Salat because that is something that takes up our time throughout the day. All right, so Salat, right? And generally, when we look at Salat, we're trying to set world records, the new personal best records on how fast we can complete it. All right, but when Allah defines Salat in the Holy Quran, He says, "Ma khalaqtul jinna wal insa illa liya'budun." Right? He says, "I have not created the man or the jinn except for what? To worship me." Right? So Salat is a huge part of our purpose of our existence. So Imam Hussein actually furthers this hadith. When we look at the narrations of the Hadith, Imam Hussein says, لِيَعْبُدُونَ, as in to worship Allah means لِيَعْرِفُونَ, right? As in to recognize Allah, right? So in the family, sometimes, and he just covered the family out, in family, sometimes we teach the kids, the ahkam, these are good things, right? But what about the reasonings, the whys? Because this is generation Y, right? So we have to understand the why. And the same thing Imam Hussein is saying over here, we have to recognize who we're praying to, right? And Imam Hussein is saying that is our purpose of existence. And then when furthered asked, what is the recognition of Allah, right? And Imam responds by saying this. He says, "Ma'arifatu ahli kulli zamanin imamuhum," right? It is actually the recognition of every era of their Imam of their time, right? So for us, we're blessed with Imam Zaman, right? This is the characteristics of the individuals during the time of the Ghaiba, right? It's said that, this is a very special time because if Imam Jafar as-Sadiq wishes to be in this era to serve Imam Zaman, imagine what type of opportunity we have right now, right? And it all starts with what? With recognition, knowing him. And where do we see this? We see this in the Battle of Karbala, right? Something we all know very detailed about. When we see on one side, when we see the army of Yazid, they didn't have any recognition of the Imam. We see the side of Imam Hussein, they recognized their Imam, right? Why? Both of them were doing namaz, right? Both of them were doing namaz, but which one had true worship? That was the side of Imam Hussein, right?
So the question comes, we've said this word a lot, recognition, marifat. How do we do this? How do you recognize who Imam Zaman is? Right? It starts with a few simple steps. Number one, you have to try to gain an understanding of who your Imam is. This is a lifelong journey. We will never truly attain an understanding of who the Imam is, but we want to make the effort to always do that, right? And this comes with all of your actions that you're going to do. Maybe it might be you're reading dua, right? This dua Qumel, has come down from Imam Ali. You're reading Dua Nutbah. It is a dua written by Imam Zaman. Understand these words of the Imams, what they have said, right? Number two, know the status of your Imam. I'm going to ask a general question, a trivia question actually. Which Imam do you guys think is mentioned most in the Hadith? Sure. Not that has said the most Hadith, right? But is mentioned about the most. Imam Ali, alayhi salam, right? Okay, so now, what do we all love hearing in majalis and jashan? We love hearing about the fazail of Mawla Ali, right? Well, why does it make us so happy? Like immediately when someone says Shairi of Imam Ali, our hearts light up, our faces start to smile. Why? Because we have recognition. We have understanding of the history of Imam Ali's life. When we refer to what happened in the Battle of Khaybar, we feel happy, right? We know the inside of what took place, what Imam Ali has said. And we know the status ultimately of what Imam Ali is, the first Imam, the greatest. So now we've said Imam Ali is the first most mentioned Imam. Surprisingly, or maybe not as surprisingly, Imam Zaman is the second most mentioned Imam in the Hadith. Right? So after Imam Ali, we have Imam Zaman. And this, I mean, Allah. So this just shows how important it is for us to really know the status of that Imam. Now, how does knowing the status really elevate our ibadat, right? We're talking about salat. How does it elevate salat? I'm going to give you a personal example from myself, right? Alhamdulillah, I've been able to go on many ziyarats over the years, right? Every single year, alhamdulillah. Now, what is the difference between that first ziyarat that I did back in 2016. Now it's 10 years later between the one that inshallah we're going to go do in Ashur. It's going to be that when I see Imam Hussein's Roza, I see Hazrat Abbas's Roza, I see the Zari, my emotions are deeper. I'm connected more. Immediately I start to cry. I feel a connection when I see that Imam, right? After all these years, every single year that connection becomes stronger, better. And it's because after every single Muharram that we've done, after every single Ashur, Arba'een, my understanding of who Imam Hussain is, what was his mission, what did he do, the masayibs of each of the different shuhada, all of that has culminated into something stronger. And my connection is deeper. Same way with Imam Zaman. Understand his status, continue to grow it so that you have that same connection that we feel with the other Imams. And that means that you have to learn about him. You have to elevate yourself to understand what are the words that the Imam has asked us to do. There's many things Imam Zaman himself has said for his Shias to do during this time. We need to know what are those, what are the different things around the life of Imam Zaman, right? Maybe majority of us only know that he's in Ghaibat, right? For the longest time as a kid, I didn't even understand where is Imam Zaman. Is he walking amongst us? Is he in a cave? Someone told me he was in the Bermuda Triangle when I was like 5 years old. I didn't know what, I was like, how is that possible? Right? Do we really understand all the different aspects of this Imam's life? And this means we have to open up the books, right? You have to read Quran, you have to read Hadith, and familiarize yourself with these different aspects. Now, once you have developed a stronger connection with Imam Zaman, how do you incorporate that now into your salat, into your namaz? A few things. Number one, maybe it means reciting dua faraj when you do qunut, right? Simple dua that's asking for the safety of the Imam. Within your namaz, you can do this, right? A second thing is you can pray a 2 rakat salat hadiyah for Imam Zaman. Gift this salat to the Imam. Right? Think about how happy, right? 15 Shaban came, our family, we always do this thing where we give gifts to each other. I get super excited because my mom only gives Eid on 15 Shaban. No other occasion. I get happy when she does that, right? She's given me that gift. Now I know when Eid al-Ghadir comes, I need to get her an even better gift than what she gave me. Now think about, we give a gift to Imam Zaman. What is he going to return to us? Something even better for our life, right? And the last thing that we can do is, at the end of your namaz, maybe in your last sajda, dua for connection. This is a little excerpt from Dua Ahad, a dua that we do every morning to pledge our allegiance to Imam Zaman, where we say, Allahumma ij'alni min ansarihi. Oh Allah, make me the supporter of this Imam. Wa awanihi wa za'bina annahu, right? A sponsor, a defender of this Imam's mission. So these are a few things that we can do within our own namaz to connect with Imam Zaman more and more. And inshallah, I mean, we've only advocated for, I think, 30 minutes that we put for this thing. Maybe this becomes longer. Maybe it stays 30 minutes, but it has more meaning, more quality, right? And something more close to get us closer to Imam Zaman. So those were some of all the apps that we kind of definitely wanted to cover. And just to ask the audience, do we want to do one more, or do we want to move on to the quiz? Health? Okay, let's do health. Okay, so how many of you guys like, yes? Sure.
Career, how do I go about that?
Okay, so I'll just repeat the question because you didn't have a mic, so everyone in the front can hear it. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. A lot of the sisters are told that their primary role is to raise family. Your question is, when it comes to our careers, how do you balance?
How do you balance both in a way, like raising a family and then also a career to help? So it's how do you balance both? Raising a family and then also having a career to help the Imam.
To help the Imam, right? I mean, to briefly answer it, number one, let me start off with, I'm not a woman. So I have a wife, alhamdulillah. If everyone can please move up a little bit, thank you. Allahumma. Question's good. I think we understand. The question is, how do we balance as a sister, balancing raising a family and then a career, right? And serving Imam Zaman with this mindset. I just want to preface, obviously I'm a guy. I cannot relate to the situation. Alhamdulillah, I have a wife. I'm sure this is something that all sisters, I have a sister as well, they all have this idea in their head, right? Now, I would just say, of course, I mean, when it comes to what the Ahlul Bayt have said, yes, of course, the primary role of not only for women, but for men as well, is to raise a family that's a Shia of Imam Ali, that has grown with the love of Imam Ali. That is our primary function in life, right? Regardless if you're a man or woman, our role is to make sure that the next generation carries this message of Vilayat. Now, when it comes to balancing between a career and a family, it's a little bit personal in my opinion, because you have to understand what is needed most at the time. If my family really needs me, if they're struggling to understand the foundation of religion, what is Vilayat, if they're having trouble connecting to these ideas that we're talking about, maybe then it requires you to invest more time in that and less time in your career, right? And I think that's a lifelong journey. At sometimes, I have a sister, she works in the medical field, right? And I see she's up, you work at a hospital, you're up at 5 a.m., you're on call some days, it's long hours, it's tiring, right? How sustainable, I ask her sometimes, how sustainable is this when you have a kid? Will you be able to do this? And she tells me, I don't know, but right now I want to do this so that I understand the medical field profession. And she also, she's also in class with us. She has learned about this. She's very knowledgeable when it comes to hadith as well. And she says, maybe there's a time where I have to drop my job and I can't do that anymore and I have to spend more time with my family because I can't sustain this. But maybe I can balance it. I think as a sister, you have to figure out what is needed at the time. Right? When it comes to serving Imam Zaman, there is no better thing, in my opinion, than raising a child who will be there to be a servant of Imam Zaman, right? And that's going to always kind of have to be the priority in life. And it doesn't mean that when you have your career, this is not something that you lose focus of. Of course, my mother worked her whole life. I would only see her in the evenings. And alhamdulillah, I think all of our families were very nicely, right? So I don't think it's something that you have to just sacrifice one or the other, and there's a balance to learn. And it's something that as a person, it's a personal journey to learn that balance as well, but definitely can be done.
Yeah, just a small point to add on. When we look at the life of Sayyidat al-Nisa, right, we see, her, Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein, just like Brother Numa said, how she raised him, right? So we have to understand the fact that, the soldiers, the commanders of Imam Zaman's army are going to be raised in the laps of the mothers, right? It's not a small thing. Like sometimes I think in this day and age, it looks like, oh, you're at home, you just you don't do anything, you just raise a family, that's it. No, it's more than that, right? Nowadays people are one of the terms is homemaker, right? Because the whole family depends upon the mother. And the mother to do what? To raise the child with the right aqidah, right? That's very important, right? And like Brother Mahdi said, with the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen. And then if you want to try to balance with career and raising a family too, you have to see that the fact that if I'm going to partake in that career, is that going to involve me in something which is maybe makruh, or how is that going to play out, right? Because when we look at Sayyidat al-Nisa, what was told to her by Rasulullah was the best place of her, the best place for her is the innermost portion of the house, right? Which is the words of Rasulullah, right? So we should try to look at that and look at our situation. Maybe ask the elders in our community who've raised us on this wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen and take advice from them and move forward with that. Yeah.
Good question, tough question. I'm glad you asked it. Thank you. Okay, so let's start with health, right? Okay, so number one, how many of you guys like working out, playing basketball, football, sports? Everyone enjoys these, right? The young ones here. What do you play? Yeah, what do you play? What's your favorite? Basketball? Okay, and I'm assuming you're a Hawks fan. How many hours of basketball do you play a week? 6? Oh my God. Okay, so health is sometimes a big aspect of our life, right? Whether it's your kid, you want to play outside with your friends. What have the Imams said about health? Well, they've actually emphasized that this is an important thing, right? Don't take away from your health. This is actually an important thing. Imam Ali says in Ghurur al-Hikam, Sahatul ajsami min ahnal aqsam, right? Physical health is one of the most wholesome bounties. It's a bounty given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's something that we should protect and to grow and to be better at, right? Now, we want to understand what defines health and how do we become healthier individuals. Is it only just going to the gym and, bench pressing your PR or squatting as much as you can or being able to dunk the basketball? Is that all that health is? Not really, right? There's three maybe aspects of health that we can look at. One is your physical health. This is, being a fit person, being healthy in your lifestyle. Two is your spiritual health, right? Having a good connection with your religion, with your Imam, with your deen. And then the third is your mental health, right? Being strong and having strong mental fortitude. Now, where do we see all of this come together and culminate into all of these aspects, right? Yes. In your body? Okay, good. A little step further than that, I want to take you to an example where we see all three, physical, spiritual, mental, at its peak. And that's in I'm going to go another example and just say something that everyone can even relate to, I think even more, which is the story and tragedy of Karbala, right? Every single individual that was with Imam Hussein on the battlefield of Karbala examined all of these different aspects of health, right? Let's start with physical. Of course, we know Mullah Abbas, the peak of physical health, right? Strength, height, swordsmanship, right? The peaks, most skillful physical. Of course, the son of Imam Ali is going to be one of the strongest people on the battlefield. So the peak of physical health. At the same time in Karbala, we have older people, right? You have Hazrat Habib, who was old of age, yet still fought valiantly on the day of Karbala, right? Although he wasn't at his peak of physical health, he was there spiritually and mentally with Imam Hussein, right? Now, what connects both of these two shaheeds together? What's the factor that unites them both? Their service of health was done with their Imam in mind, right? Although Hazrat Abbas was at the peak of his physical health and he trained with Imam Ali, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein since being very, very young, his whole goal was not to be the strongest person on the battlefield. His whole goal was to be there for his brother and his Imam, right? Same with Hazrat Habib. Not the strongest, but his goal was the same mental and spiritual goal, to be with Imam Hussein, right? So when it comes to health, these are the aspects that we want to understand, right? These are the aspects that we want to relate into our life, right? We're going to be doing all these things. Are we doing it with service to the Imam? Interestingly enough, Imam Zaman, as we know, just like all the other Imams, are the ones that grant us health, right? You pray for the Imam in health, he'll also give that back to you. There's a hadith about what will happen when Imam Zaman returns, right? And it said that, this is from Imam Ali, that he would touch the heads of the people and there would not remain any believer, but that his heart would become as strong as a mountain of steel. One of the titles of Imam Zaman is Tarid, right? The grantor of power, the grantor of strength, right? So this is one of Imam Zaman's qualities, right? He would be able to make the heart strong as steel, and that he would give each person the strength of 40 men just by touching their heads, right? So it's good. Go to the gym, work out. True strength, I don't know what the PRs will be after that, but I'm assuming it'll be amazing. But this is where true strength comes from, right? Now, who are the people that will get this strength? The ones that have a true connection with their Imam, right? So in all of your health aspects, the real idea is if I can connect with my Imam, I will be at the peak of my health in all of these different aspects of health. And know that, of course, all of our health is due to the prayers and the existence of Imam Zaman. He's the one that will bestow these bounties upon us. You want to become healthy, stronger, you want to become healthy spiritually, mentally, ask Imam Zaman, he'll give it to you, inshallah. So with this was the last app. I do want to say one thing, right? I was at a time where I used to spend like 3 hours at the gym. Maybe it means we have to cut some of these physical aspects of our health, spending time playing basketball or going to the gym, and maybe focus on some of those other aspects of spiritual and mental, right? And connect with the Imam a little bit more when it comes to our health and our body. So this was the last of the applications we wanted to do. And we have a little bit of an extra session after this, right before we get to the quiz. Tarab, click on social media. Okay, you can go for that. Go back. Yeah. Here we go.
Okay, we all want to get to the Kahoot, but just one more thing, right? So let's wrap this all up. So we just learned all about this, you know, what we can do for our Imam. But who are we doing this for? Who is our Imam? What is his status, right? Like, you might be wondering, oh, I'm telling you guys to do all this, sacrifice all this in your daily lives. But who are we doing this for? So in Ziyarat Ashura, I'm sure all of you guys are familiar with this. We say, Be'abi anta wa ummi, right? Does anyone know what this means? What does this mean to you guys? Let me open this up. Sean? Exactly. But what does that mean? How much do our parents mean to us? And we're saying everything, right? Like Sean said, our parents mean everything to us. And if we're saying that we're sacrificing our parents for the Imam, this is the heaviest statement in Ziyarat Ashura. That our parents that raised us from birth to where we're standing now, we're sacrificing them for the Imam. That kind of gives you an idea of who the Imam is. And if we're willing to sacrifice our parents of all people, who are, in my opinion, they're number one, number two people in my life, right? So if we're willing to sacrifice them for the Imam, what else should I be sacrificing for the Imam? Right? Like we discussed, sacrifice maybe some social media, maybe some gym time, maybe some other time, some nonsense time for our Imam. Right? May my father and mother be ransoms for you. O Imam, that we should sacrifice something, maybe a little bit of time, maybe 30 minutes, an hour a day, just to open up a book or just to talk to our Imam, read about the hadith, read about our Imam, become familiar with them, strengthen that connection, so that when the Imam comes back, we can actually say this and he can actually, you know.
So one of the three just recap points, right? Let's start today. Like, this is the month of Sha'ban, this is the month of Imam Zaman, right? Let's do tawassul to Imam Zaman to help us in making these steps within our lives, right? So we can cut out some, excess and build a specific thing for Imam Zaman. We're coming up to the month of Shahr Ramadan. It's one of the best months to implement something, right? For 30 days, and inshallah it'll last a lifetime. So, number 2, right? Cut out the distractions. Brother Ali Noma said, right? This is Imam Zaman, right? This is someone who is higher than our parents. We're willing to do so much for our parents, but what about for Imam Zaman? We can't cut out maybe an hour out of our day just to maybe talk to him, right? Maybe whether it be reading about him, some of the other things that we mentioned today. Number 3, let's make sure that we're consistently having this drive, right? This drive, and we're asking Imam Zaman to help us to gain recognition of them, right? There's one special dua, right? If you guys can search it up, it's called Dua-e-Ma'rifat, right? And if you know in the prayer slide that we emphasize duas very heavily, right? Because at the end of the day, yeah, I could go to the Quran, the Hadith, and I can, put my own personal opinion on it and try to derive something, right? But at the end of the day, Allah is the one who's going to bestow that ma'rifat of the Imam to us within our hearts. So we have to truly pray for that, right? This is something which is from the side of Allah, right? So yes, we do our due diligence. We build our baseline. We cut out extra things from our life and focus a little bit more on Quran and Hadith. But let's also, at the same time, do dua. Do dua for this ma'rifat of Imam Zaman. With that, we'll start a Kahoot, and we have some prizes. So if you paid attention today, pay attention here. Yeah, I think you can switch it. It should be it. So what? You could just you could do play live. So just a quick reminder why we set up the Kahoot here, right? So like the brothers mentioned, right? We go to class every week along with our 9-to-5s and our family and all this stuff. It's a quick reminder of the words of the Ahlul Bayt, right? So if you're interested in doing some sort of an online class, right? Please reach out and we can sign you guys up, and inshallah we'll have a continuous relationship in building this Mahdaviya relationship with Imam Zaman. and inshallah serving his mission. Back there. Yeah, let's give it 1 more minute and let's make sure everyone's in, and then we'll get started.
So while we're waiting, it would be nice if you guys could talk about. So while we're waiting, it would be nice if you guys could talk about, as you mentioned earlier, that there are a lot of extracurricular activities in our lives, right? Some of us like to go to the gym, spend more time at the gym, and then you decided, you're going to spend less time and more time focusing on things like this. I would love to hear more about, just your personal perspective on what made you decide to choose this as a extracurricular activity and spending your time for the Imam like this. Just a little bit of guidance for the youth.
I want to start out by saying our brother Ali here is a Division I track athlete, state champion. Right? I remember I would see him running all day in the mornings, nights, right? So he has a ring when it comes to actually track, crazy athlete, right? So what does it take to move away from some of those things and focus more on this, is your question?
What made you choose this specific, activity that you guys are doing and going to different, Imam Bargas and giving
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think one of the aspects of life that we talked about is working for the Imam. And that can look different ways for different people. For us, I mean, alhamdulillah, we have the opportunity in Houston, we have classes where a lot of the focus is on Imam Zaman, hadith, things like that. We all came together thinking, knowing our own community in Houston, this was something lacking with the youth. Of course, everyone has a time in their life where they go to Sunday school, madrasa. Kind of after high school, this drops off. Now, when it comes to the college years, adult life, how much time do we actually spend then, as much as we did as when we were kids, learning about Ahlul Bayt, besides just majalis, jashan, the programs at the masjid? So that extracurricular came from the opportunity of understanding how can we serve Imam Zaman for the community. And we came up with this way. And we wanted to do events like this that people can relate to in somewhat of an easier manner. Yes, sister. Yeah, is it hard to see? Okay. Huh?
Yeah, I think so. One of the things we mentioned, right, was a class. So we have class in Houston every week. We did programs last Shaban in different states, and they started class. So there's class for the brothers and the sisters. If they're interested, it's a short portion of the day throughout the week. Like, it's only an hour a week, right? In these classes, it's key to build a little bit of understanding of Arabic, base understanding. It doesn't take a lot of time, and then majority focus on your aqaid. So whenever we go to class, right, we get a lot of inspiration. Oh, maybe we can implement this hadith in this manner, right? Yeah. So, inshallah. Yeah, so do we have everyone joined in? Okay, one last brother. 2 brothers left. We'll start in 30 seconds. We have 54 participants. So we better be quick with our selections.
All right, everyone join? You join? All right, okay, hurry up. All right, Sean, you joined? You good? Because you already joined. You in? All right, let's start. Okay, the first question is, Yeah, it's not a question. We gotta wait for the question. First question. Oh. All right. First question is: what is one of Imam Zaman's unique titles? Yeah, this was mentioned in the health section. This was mentioned in the health section. What is one of Imam Zaman's unique titles? The answer choices are Amir al-Mu'mineen, Bab al-Hawaij, Al-Ta'id, and Sayyid al-Shahada. Okay, the right answer was Al-Ta'id. So we talked about it in health, where he's the one that gives us shifa. He's the one that gives us health. Next question. All right. Akbar. Good job. Okay. Alright, it's a multi-select question. Imam al-Baqir said, during the nighttime, the Shia are as what? While during the daytime, they are as what? So the red answer choice is lions, blue tigers, yellow bees, and green monks. As a reminder, the ones that are top 5, they get prizes. Top three. Okay, the correct answer was lions and monks. Imam Baqir said that during the nighttime, the Shia are as monks, while during the daytime, they are as lions. You can go next. Akbar still on top. Oh, Sean. How can we work for Imam Zaman? The red answer choice, I'm not reading all that. But how can we work for Imam Zaman? Ladies, can you guys see the answer choices or no? Okay. How can we work for Imam Zaman? Okay, the correct answer choice was dedicate a portion of the day where we learn the Holy Quran and Hadith of the Imams. I don't know who put quit your 9-to-5 job, but please don't do that. Alright, Akbar's still on top. Alright, the question, and Allah the Mighty and the High would give each of them, the servants of Imam Zaman, the strength of how many men? And Allah the Mighty and the High would give each of them, the servants of Imam Zaman, the strength of how many men? The correct answer was 40 men. The strength of 40 men. Ooh, someone just dropped out of the top 5. Akbar, still on top. Sean, we have a sister in the top 3. Huh? I did? Imam Zaman, we are neither negligent in caring for you nor forgetful of your blank. We are neither negligent in caring for you nor forgetful of your blank. We are neither Imam Zaman is saying we are neither negligent in caring for you nor forgetful of your remembrance. Imam Zaman's remembering us. Akbar still on top. Is he going to take it home? Question 6 of 7. The one who dies without the recognition of their imam of their time dies the death of blank. The one who dies without the recognition of the imam of their time dies the death of ignorance, jahiliyyah. Good job. Everyone's getting it right, pretty much. Ooh. All right, Akbar, you dropped from top 1. You ain't getting no prize. I'm playing. If you get top 3. Okay, last question. According to Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, salat is not accepted without what 2 things? Oh. Alright, we didn't cover this, but if you guys get this right, good job. According to Imam Sajjad, salat is not accepted without what 2 things? Salat is not accepted without wilayat and tabarra. Okay, let's get some leaderboards in here. Who's on the podium? So in 3rd place, Jarrar Mir. Number 2, Sakina Rizvi. And for number 1, we got Fizza. Recite a loud salawat for all of them. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Huh? Top 6? Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, so it's a sister. We can give it to someone and then you can give it to them. No, I'll go give it to him. Yeah. Is it the large?
Then who's Jarar?
Wait, which one do I give?
They're all XL.
There's 2 sisters?
They're both
Oh, there are 2
XL.
sisters, yeah.
They're all XL.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jarar? That's a little bit big. We give it a wash, maybe a bunch of washes.
صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. First and foremost, want to thank just Dar-e Abbas for having us, and Zia, the uncle, for hosting us, giving him so much zahmat, and brother Zulfiqar so much for helping us set all this up. And Jazakallah, this is the service to Imam Zaman. Our kids and our families coming together, talking about the hadith of the Ahlul Bayt. Inshallah, we can do more of these programs in the future. And inshallah, in the future, you guys are equipped to, some of the older brothers in the community are more equipped to be doing sessions like these for the younger brothers. And one of the ways that we can do this is, if you're interested, you can join the class. It's for the brothers and for the sisters, right? And we emphasize how important it is to know the mission of Imam Zaman, because if you understand that, then we'll truly, in our day-to-day lives, we'll be able to implement that and make those right decisions, right? For whether, one of the sisters had a question whether it was family or whether it was career focus, right? So with a little bit of marifat and basirat, right? Inshallah, with the teachings and the words of the Ahlul Bayt, we can get there, inshallah. So we'll keep these QR codes on here, and we'll end it with a dua faraj for Imam Zaman. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma kun liwaliyika al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan. صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا اللهم صل على محمد.
Jazakallah. Once again, we would like to thank Ali Hussain, Mehdi Jafar, Ali Numa, and Hassan Turab for taking the time out, coming over here entirely on their own expense, and having this wonderful program for our youth. May Allah bless you. May Allah give you all the blessings of the world. और कोई गम ना मिले सिवाय मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद. अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद.
आप में से कोई जा रहा है जी? नहीं, जियान को बता दीजिए. जियान
अली अकबर मुतवज्जो ज़ियारत.
السلام عليك يا رسول الله السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء السلام عليك يا خديجة الكبرى السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي هلت بفنائك عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جاره الله آخر الأهد مني لزيارتكم السلام على الحسين وعلى علي ابن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى 9 المعصومين من ذريتك علي ابن الحسين ومحمد ابن علي وجعفر ابن محمد وموسى ابن جعفر وعلي ابن موسى ومحمد ابن علي وعلي ابن محمد والحسن ابن علي والحجة ابن الحسن أجر الله فرجه وسهل الله مخرجه وظهورك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
جزاک اللہ جزاک اللہ. باراللہ تجھے واسطہ ہے محمد والے محمد کا، تجھے واسطہ ہے ان برگزیدہ ہستیوں کا جن کے لیے تو نے اس کائنات کو خلق کیا. تو ہماری اس قلیل عبادت کو قبول فرما. صدقے میں محمد والے محمد کے حاضرین محفل اور منتظمین محفل کی تمام حاجات قبول فرما. جہاں جہاں مومن و مومنات آباد ہیں ان کی مال عزت آبرو کی حفاظت فرما. جو مومن و مومنات بے روزگار ہیں ان کو جلد جلد رزق حلال عطا فرما. جو باروزگار ہیں ان کے روزگار ہیں وسعت کو شادگی ترقی عطا فرما. ظہور قائم آل محمد میں تعجیل فرما. ہم کو اور ہماری نسلوں کو ان کے انصار اور عوان میں شمار فرما. ربنا تقبل منا انک انت السمیع العلیم برحمتک یا ارحم الراحمین. سورہ فاتحہ کی گزارش ہے جملہ مومن و مومنات کے لیے بالخصوص و مومن و مومنات جن کا کوئی فاتحہ پڑھنے والا نہیں ہے، اس کے علاوہ تمام راجہ اعظام، تمام ذاکرین اہل بیت، تمام نوحہ خاں حضرات، تمام مرثیہ خاں حضرات، تمام ماتمی جو کل تک ہم میں تھے آج نہیں ہے، اس کے علاوہ اپنے اعزاء اقربا کو یاد رکھتے ہوئے بالخصوص آج کی جو نیاز ہے وہ ہمارے بھائی رضا وزیر کی جانب سے ہے جو یہاں پہ موجود نہیں ہے، لیکن ان کا بہت بہت شکریہ کہ انہوں نے یہ نیاز در عباس میں پیش کی. ان کے اجداد میں ان کے مرحومین کے کچھ نام میں لے رہا ہوں. محمد جعفر وزیر اور دیگر مرحومین آف وزیر اینڈ کپاسی فیملی، ان کو یاد رکھتے ہوئے 1 مرتبہ سورہ الحمد اور 3 مرتبہ سورہ اخلاص کی گزارش.
نعرہ حیدری، نعرہ حیدری، نعرہ حیدری، نعرہ
نعرہ حیدری.
بے شمار